I am Commander ZaSha, but you know me as Oriana. I am a commander of a Pleiadian starship that is currently in orbit. I have descended into this density for many reasons, and I am here to tell you that everything is not as it seems. And if you value your sovereignty, then I suggest you start listening, because this is important. Time and time again, I'm hearing about how souls come to this planet. They choose their lives, they choose their families, they choose their locations, they choose what happens to them in order for them to grow. And then afterwards, they go to the afterlife, they have their life review, decide what they're going to do next, and then they either get reincarnated or they go elsewhere or this, that and the other, blah, 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 blah. What if I was to tell you that's all bullshit? I have so much to say on this topic, and I'm not even going to go into it now because I'm not ready, but I have remembered so much, and I am seriously getting fucking pissed off with this false narrative that is going around convincing people that it was their choice to fucking come back here in the first place, and that all the shitty things that have happened in your life were something that you chose. I'm here to tell you that is wrong. It's all wrong. If you want to know more, you need to start following me, because I am going to start speaking up and telling you exactly what's been happening. Because you guys think you're awakening. You guys think you are having these deep and meaningful spiritual awakenings. And by knowing that you're a starseed is enough to free you from this system, but I am telling you, it is not. It's another trap. I spent months making my videos. I almost quit so many times, but every time I almost gave up, I would come across another false guru. I would come across someone else talking about the fraudulent reincarnation cycle, making it look glamorous. People being tricked into believing that they chose this level of trauma in their life, that all of their suffering was for a purpose, that they had something to learn from it. And if they kept on suffering in this life, it's because they hadn't learned the lesson, and therefore it's their own fault. The amount of gaslighting that goes on in the spiritual community is quite sickening, and it makes me really upset. I find it difficult. And that is the reason why I continue to do this work, regardless of the amount of attacks and sabotage that I have received over the last 6 months. I know that my videos are very doom and gloom at the moment. I get it. They are. They're not love and light in the slightest, and they're not meant to be. But they are not without purpose. Because in order for me to help you understand what is going on here on this planet, to help you understand the false light, the soul trap that is going on, I need to tell my story from the very beginning. I need to lay out my life in front of all of you to help you understand what is happening and to evidence it all the way. My story is my evidence. I am not someone who has read a few books or done a few courses and then is now speaking about what I have learned. Quite frankly, I haven't had time to do that anyway. What I'm now telling you comes from lived experience and remembrance in its rawest form. I have spent months making these videos, and I know they're not for everyone, but it's not going to stop me, because I know that this story needs to be told, even if that means putting myself in a vulnerable position, which I have done. I've spoken about things that I don't generally talk about, and although I don't go into detail about those things, they are deeply, deeply personal. I almost gave up many, many times, but every time I see people talk about the
the fraudulent reincarnation cycle like it's some amazing thing that it helps your soul grow. Every time I see a false light guru spreading lies and witnessing people following them blindly, and every time I see suffering, whether it's through mental health or abuse and just general life shit, it makes me remember why I am here and why I chose this mission in the first place. I am not here to play love and light. I'm here to help liberate the souls that have been trapped here for millennia. The souls, the true starseeds, that never made it back home to their true star families. If the message I convey hurts too much to hear, then this is probably not for you. But for those of you who are still here listening, it probably is. And I promise you, there is a way out. All you need to do is commit to the work, because we are all waiting for you to come home. Wishing you all so much love.
After I demanded truth or exit, the remembrances didn't trickle in. They hit like a shockwave. One day, I suddenly found myself on a ship. Not dreaming, not visualizing. I was there. And there he was, the one who called himself Tom. Big smiley face, bright blonde hair, bright blue eyes, with an almost baby-faced innocence. He grinned wide, hugged me like I'd never left, and said, "I'm your brother." Then came the wave of love and recognition that crashed over me. I can still feel it every time I return. He was there, steady, joyful, real. Then they took me deeper. A memory opened up. Me as a Pleiadian Commander. The time leading up to my descent. The rage I felt watching Earth. The souls trapped. False light everywhere. The so-called Galactic Federation of Light lying through their teeth. And no one doing enough. I was furious. I felt like I had no choice but to go myself. My daughter Kara was coming too. She was all I had left. Her mother was gone, so I couldn't risk losing her. So I went. I remember the council meetings. A female Octurian, preparing me, calm, precise, guiding. And then there was the descent. I got into a pod, and they plugged me in. That's when everything went black. It felt exactly like the Matrix film. Consciousness projected into this vessel. I woke up here. When I came back, I was stunned. Surely this can't be it. The false light tried to keep that memory buried forever, but once it cracked open, there was no closing it. An alien looked after me when I was a baby. Here's how it happened. I'm ZaSha, Pleiadian Commander, Guardian of Worlds, here to expose the false light, the soul trap, and help lost starseeds find their way home. And this is my story. This series builds on the last, so head over to part 1 if you have missed why I came to Earth. My mum and dad ran a B&B. We lived in a giant 9-bed house. I grew up seeing shadow people, false light entities lurking in the corners, and dark spirits poking around me, trying to intimidate. But through all the noise, there was a mysterious being looking after me as a baby. Mum, thinking it was a ghost, called it Star, which is pretty ironic, if you ask me. It watched over me day and night, and when I woke or become irritable, it knocked on furniture 3 times to notify my mum that I needed attention. You'd think this would be a blessing, a cosmic baby monitor, but in fact it drove her mad. She told me it was constant, but from my star family's point of view, it was necessary. That house was full of entities. It terrified me. I saw everything. I was fresh on Earth, and already the darkness tried to dim my light, to stop me remembering my truth before I could even walk. But they failed. This is how the trap works, targeting early on anyone carrying remembrance. My arrival on Earth was targeted from the start. The darkness tried to stop me before I even landed. My mum was pregnant with me when the doctors broke the news that I had died. She was scheduled to have me removed on the Monday. But that couldn't happen. The mission is too critical. That's when the Pleiadian intervention kicked in. Telepathic messages hit the hospital chaplain, who repeated to the congregation, "There is life within you." I don't know why I'm saying this, but there's life within you. At the same time, strangers knocked on the door at home. Dad answered. 2 strangers told him, "The baby is alive and well. You must stop the procedure." Monday came. Mum flat out refused to have the procedure till they had scanned her again. And knowing her, no wasn't an option. They gave in to her request. And there I was, my heart beating strong. This wasn't a medical mistake. This was the false light trying to abort the mission pre-birth. My star family overrode it. The Pleiadian visits didn't end there. After demanding truth, the memories didn't trickle in. They slammed in. I remembered who I was. I reunited with Tom, Kaelion, the Mother Crystal. But I knew there was more. This wasn't enough to answer my question. They saved me before I was even born. What the hell was so important that they fought so hard to get me here? Nothing made sense. The darkness was relentless, making me doubt everything, making me doubt my own mind. I'd had enough of waiting, never wanted to be here, and I was tired of waiting to find out why. One day, whilst driving, mind in overdrive, feeling utterly hopeless, my radio glitched, paused, stuttered, and then it started playing the same song again. I thought, that's weird. Why would it do that? But this time, because I was paying attention, I heard the lyrics, and my world collapsed beneath me. Sometimes it feels like you're all alone, and the weight of the world is just too much to own. You will find yourself believing. You will find your reason why. I hope you'll always remember that we're always there. Promise me one thing. Don't you ever let the darkness win. It was like Kaelion was reaching out to me through the veil, like he was speaking to me directly, answering my questions and worries. I cried the rest of the way home. 2 days later, Kaelion and I were practicing telepathy when he suggested pushing deeper than ever. I agreed. He sent me a concept that triggered a memory. Suddenly, I was back in the forest. My forest. It was a magical world. It was alive, glowing with luminous colors. It was mine, my family. But then, something dark and evil came, and I watched my whole world get unmade, destroyed, devoured by a darkness I'd never felt or seen before. I tried everything to save them. My kin, my offspring, my life force. But I didn't know evil like that existed. This was new. My only line of defense was to shine brighter, to give as much of my life force as I could to save my family. But it wasn't enough. I refused to leave them to die alone, and I was prepared to go down with them. But that was never to be allowed. Moments before my own unmaking, Kaelion yanked me through a portal to safety, but I still had to watch it burn. I felt every light die, like knives in my heart, and a part of me died with them. The grief that followed was like nothing I have ever experienced in this human form. I couldn't speak, I couldn't eat, I couldn't move. I hated myself. Why did I let this happen? Why couldn't I save them? I'm not good enough. I failed them all. I blamed myself, even though I was powerless. There was nothing I could have done different. The pain was too much, so I shut it down. I detached. I pushed Kaelion away. I couldn't cope with the grief, the heartache, the guilt. But this is how the trap works. Earth and human experience is no exception. The darkness uses grief as a weapon, making you blame yourself for things that were never your faults in the first place, making you feel guilt for things that were completely out of your control. And then it uses that guilt and grief against you. You unwittingly agree to come back and do it all over again till you finally got it right. But you never get it right, because this world sets you up to fail every single time. It orchestrates negativity and trauma, then feeds poison into your ear, so you loathe and hate yourself and others, and convinces you you're not good enough, not worthy enough. That's how they trick you into the reincarnation cycle. They send you back, they orchestrate the trauma, then they use that to guilt you into coming back again. And the cycle repeats. A cycle Trinity with no end. The soul I am bonded to across the whole of existence. You might know it as a twin flame, but off planet, it means something much deeper and meaningful. I remembered her. I remembered her being lost. She had died. So when I found her on Earth, I couldn't understand. How could she be here if she was dead? What did I forget? And then it hit me with brutal force. She didn't die, not in the human sense, but I did lose her. She was captured by the same system that keeps every other soul trapped on Earth. You see, she had a mission thousands of years ago. She descended to Earth to complete a task, along with many, many other starseeds. But the trap got hold of her. The veil was too thick, and she forgot who she was and what she came here to do. So when she died in that human life, she was taken to the false light. And because she couldn't remember who she was, where she had come from, or why she was on Earth in the first place, she didn't know any difference. The trap captured her like it does everyone. It recycled her into endless lifetimes of repeated trauma, kept her asleep, kept her trapped, tricked her into coming back again and again to fix what she never actually failed at. But this was the trick. She was never meant to reincarnate. She was meant to come home. But I couldn't help her. I couldn't come to get her because she had forgotten so deeply that she didn't know who I was anymore. So I had to just stand back and watch, completely helpless to what was unfolding. The souls that she spent her lifetimes with became the souls and family members she knew, loved, and trusted. So the false light would send them to greet her after death, so they could bring her back to the false light to repeat the whole process over and over again. But the truth is this: those same souls were just as trapped as she was. They were all tricked into thinking that this was the true light, heaven, the afterlife, whatever you want to call it. That this planet was about learning and growing as a soul. But that's a lie, because every soul that descends to Earth is set up to fail from the start. Your memory is wiped. You're forced to repeat orchestrated trauma against your will. And then your actions, no matter how good or bad, are used against you to force you or coerce you into reincarnating again with the same souls to repeat the same scenarios over and over again. It's all a damn lie. And that's why I thought I had lost her. That's why I thought she was dead. Because in some ways, she was. I lost her the moment she descended to Earth and forgot who she was. And this is why I came. I was never meant to descend into Earth's density. That was never part of the plan. But I had a vested interest. And finally, I had remembered what it was. I came to find Trinity, to wake her up and bring her home. And then I would dedicate my life to exposing the whole damn trap and help as many souls as I can find their way back home too. I was angry. I was determined. There was nothing stopping me. I remember